So once you have been a model of integrity with others and successfully motivated them, you're ready to take them to the next step in process of becoming a person of influence in their lives. Jim has a story that will give you an idea of what the next step looks like. Over the years, Eric has been through more than 30 individual brain operations, but that never stopped him from being mentally sharp and full of optimism. And his greatest sense of humor keeps us all entertained. During one of these many surgeries, Eric experienced an intraoperative stroke. The resulting loss of muscle balance has limited him the use of his right hand and had given him severe curvature of his spine. After a couple of years, that required another surgery in which the doctors performed spinal fusion and implanted steel rods from the base of his neck to his pelvis. He spent 3 months in a full body cast during his long recovery, and as a result, many of his previous abilities were reduced. But Eric came through it all with his character in positive spirits. So he didn't change his character, which is quite amazing. After Eric's spinal surgery, Nancy could no longer handle him alone, so we decided it was time to employ a full-time home attendant to lift him, help with his daily life, and assist him with ongoing rehabilitation. He knew the type of person we wanted to hire, but we had no idea or how to locate him. One day while Nancy was talking to one of our medical contacts, she heard about a person named Fernando. He sounded great. He's a perfect person, our friend said, but you'll never get him. Nancy's response was, just give us his number and let us worry about whether we can have him or not. A few weeks later, we hired him and he has been wonderful. Fernando has been a life skill trainer for Sharp Hospital. And though he was only 5 years older than Eric, he had already been a manager of a group home for abused kids and worked in the field of rehab for 7 years. He and Eric bonded immediately. Fernando provided a perfect combination of professional skills and companionship. It's difficult to describe what a wonderful gift God has provided to Eric and our family in the person of Fernando. He sees his mission as that of enlarging Eric and keeping him growing towards his full potential. Fernando constantly learns new information techniques in his field and seeks ways to expose Eric to new experiences and challenges to make him grow. As a result, Eric's life hasn't been the same. In the time that the two of them have been doing things together, Eric has done a lot more than going skiing every year. He has learned to jet ski, which I never could have visualized Eric going 40 miles per hour on the water, but Fernando believed Eric could do it and he did it. Eric also volunteers as a tutor with second graders, studies German, works in our office 2 days a week, swims a couple of days a week, has begun to work out with weights. It's hard for us to remember that Eric is severely limited physically, but his life is full, challenging, and expanding every day. One of Eric's greatest experiences since teaming up with Fernando has been his involvement in power soccer. It is a new sport played by people using wheelchairs. They meet in gymnasiums where they compete as a team to score goals using a large ball. Eric loves it and usually prefers to play goalie. Not long ago, Fernando took Eric to Vancouver, Canada to compete in power soccer tournament. It was quite an experience for Eric. They flew together, rented a car, got hotel room, and got around town, just the two of them. Eric loved it, especially since competing in the 5-day tournament where he scored 2 goals, and best of all, his team won the gold medal. We have never seen Eric so excited as he was when he returned from the tournament. He wore his gold medal home on the plane, and I don't think he touched the ground for days. Since then, his confidence has been so strong that he's willing to tackle just about any kind of challenge. And for that, Fernando deserves a lot of credit. Without his belief in Eric and his desire to expand his world, none of this would ever happen. Become a person of influence and to make a positive impact on people, you have to come alongside them and really get involved in their lives. That's what Fernando did and continues to do with Jim's son, Eric. And that's why you need to do with the people whom you want to make a difference. Modeling a life of integrity is an important step in becoming an influencer because it creates a strong foundation with others. And the next natural step is motivating people. As you nurture people, show your faith in them, listen to their hopes and fears, and demonstrate your understanding of them, you build a strong relationship and connection and will help give them incentive to succeed and to be influenced by you. But if you want people to be able to really grow, improve, and succeed, you have to take the next step with them, and you have to become a mentor to them. The meaning of being a mentor: giving people the motivation to grow without also provides them with the means of doing it tragically. But mentoring process offer people with opportunity to turn their potential into reality, their dreams into destiny. Mentors impact eternity because there is no telling where their influence will stop. 19th century British statesman William Gladstone asserted, "He is a wise man who wastes no energy on pursuits for which he is not fitted, and he is wiser still who from among these things can do well chooses resolutely follow the best." Many people don't have a natural knack for spotting their greatest areas of potential. They need help doing it, especially as they begin growing and striving to reach potential. That's why it's important for you to become a mentor in the lives of the people you desire to help. You need to lead them in areas of personal and professional growth until they are able to work in these areas more independently. Enlarging others is an investment. There is no more noble occupation in the world than to assist another human being to help some succeed. Helping others enlarge themselves is one of the most incredible things you can ever do for them. Robert Goss, a former president of Walker Aircraft Corporation, once explained to his supervisors, "It is one thing to build a product. It's another thing to build a company, because companies are nothing but men, and the things that come out of them are no better than the people themselves. We do not build automobiles, airplanes, refrigerators, radios, or shoestrings. We build men. The men build the product." So when they put into their lives into helping others and training others, they turn around and do amazing things. When you enlarge others, you are doing several things. You're raising their level of living. Dennis Whitley said, "The greatest achievement of those that benefit others. Anytime you help people to enlarge themselves in any area of their lives, you benefit them because you make it possible for them to step up to a new level of living. As people develop their gifts and talents, learn new skills, and broaden their problem-solving abilities, their quality of living and the level of commitment and contentment improve dramatically. You can grow and remain unaffected in the way he lives his life." So increase their potential for success. So businessman George Crane claimed that there is no future in any job. The future lies in the man who holds a job. When you enlarge other people, you brighten their future. And when they expand their horizons, improve their attitudes, increase their skills, or learn new ways to think, they perform and live better. And that increases their potential. Increase their capacity for growth. When you help people enlarge themselves, you aren't giving them only a temporary short-term problem solving, but you help them for the long-term benefit. And as they grow and as they learn, they can do greater and greater things that they even themselves may not have thought that they could do. And this will benefit their lives. Increase the potential of your organization. If the people you are working to enlarge are part of a group, no matter whether it is a business, church, sports team, or club, then the whole group benefits from their growth. For example, if many people in your organization improve themselves even slightly, the quality of your whole organization increases. If a few people improve themselves a lot, the potential for growth and success increases due to the increased leadership of these people. And if both kinds of growth occurs as a result of your enlargement, hang on, because your organization is going to take off. So everything we do to help others helps the whole group. And the Bible says that we are a body fitly framed together. So when we help others, we help the kingdom of God, essentially. When we help others reach their potential that they may not even see in themselves. Some people are only willing to grow only enough to accommodate their problems. Instead, they need to grow enough to achieve their potential. That is why they need help from you. Authors Helen Schuckman and William Thetford aptly say that every situation properly perceived becomes an opportunity. When you enlarge others, you seize an opportunity to help them reach their potential. French essayist Michael Ikram de Monique, pardon my poor French, wrote, "The value of life lies not in the length of days, but in the use we make of them. A man may live long, yet live very little. When you enlarge others, you help them make the most of the time they have and raise their quality of life. Make yourself an enlarger. For many people, just because they want to enlarge others doesn't necessarily they are ready for the task. They usually need to some work on themselves as first. As in most instances, if you want to do more for others, you have to become more yourself. That's never more valid in the area of mentoring. You can't reach or teach others what you know, but you can reproduce only what you are. Leadership experts Warren Bennis and Bert Nannis spoke to this issue. It is the capacity to develop and improve their skills that distinguish leaders from followers. So on taking on a task of helping others to enlarge yourself, the first thing you need to do is improve and enlarge yourself. Because only when you are growing and enlarging yourself are you able to help others do the same thing. Just as people are not willing to follow a person whose leadership skills are weaker than their own, they will not learn to grow from someone who isn't growing. Not only must you be on a higher level in your personal growth, but you also must continue to grow on an ongoing basis. You can probably remember how little you respected one of your high school teachers or college professors who obviously stopped learning and growing decades earlier, possibly the day he received his degree. Albert Schweitzer maintained that the great success of, or the great secret of success is to go through life as a man who never gets used up. When you make it a goal to continue to learn and enlarge yourself, you become the kind of person who can never be used up. You're always reaching your battery or recharging your battery and finding better ways to do things and get things done. You determine whether you are still growing. Ask yourself what you're looking forward to. If you can't think of anything or you're looking back instead of ahead, your growth may be at a standstill. It's been said, the greatest obstacle to discovery is not ignorance. It is the illusion of knowledge. Many people lose sight of the importance of personal growth once they have finished their formal education, but don't let that happen to you. Make your growth one of your top priorities starting today. There is no time to waste. As Scottish writer and thinker Thomas Cottrell put it, one life, a little gleam of time between two eternities. No second chance for us forevermore. Any day that passes without personal growth is an opportunity lost to improve yourself and to enlarge others. Look, and carefully choose persons to enlarge. Once you've done some growing and you're ready to help others enlarge themselves, you need to start thinking about the people you will choose to work with. You have to be selective. You should try to be a model of integrity to all people, whether close to you or total strangers. And you should make it your goal to motivate all of the people that you have a relationship with, family members, employees, fellow church volunteers, colleagues, and friends. But you can't take the time to enlarge everybody in your life. It's obviously a too involved process. That is why you need to work with the most promising people around you and the ones most likely to be receptive to growth. Because some people are willing to grow and some people just are comfortable where they're at. And we need to be able to determine the difference. Some people are eager to be enlarged, others don't care about personal growth or won't grow under your care. It is your job to figure out which. As you think about the people you want to enlarge, keep the following guidelines in mind. Select people whose philosophy of life is similar to yours. The underlying values and priorities of the people you desire to enlarge need to be similar to yours. If you and they don't have the basics in common, you may be working at cross purposes and you won't experience the effectiveness you like. Roy Disney, Walt's brother and partner, said it is not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are. And if you and the people you mentor have similar values, you will be able to make harmonious decisions as you work together. People that with potential that you generally believe in. You can't help people that you don't believe in. Give your best mentoring effort to people who have the greatest potentials, the ones for whom you can see a promising future, not the ones whom you feel sorry for. Nurture, love, motivate hurting people, but pour yourself into people who will grow and make a difference. Select people whose lives you can positively impact. Not everyone that you try to work with are capable of developing and would be benefit from what you have to offer. So just select those who you think that will benefit from your help and that are willing to grow. Match the men and women to the mountain. We would all like to for the people we mentor to reach their full potential and develop into stars. After all, the greatest mentors develop people to a level beyond their ability. But the truth is that while all people can move to a higher level than they currently occupy, not everyone is capable of climbing to the highest levels. A successful enlarger evaluates the potential of others and places them in position to succeed. Start when the time is right. Start the process at the right time in the lives of others. You probably have heard the expression, strike while the iron is hot. It means to act on a situation when the time is right. And this goes back to the 14th century when blacksmiths are modeling things out of metal, and when it's right and it's hot, and then they start hitting the metal to bend it. And they had to know the right temperature to do that. And when you're mentoring somebody and trying to enlarge their life, you have to judge when they're ready. If you start too soon, they may not grow. And if they start too late, you might have missed the opportunity. But once you have found the right people, keep in mind that you need to get their permission before you start enlarging them. People love to be encouraged and motivated, so you don't need to get their consent to do either one of those. But mentoring process really works only when both parties know the agenda, agree to it, and give it 100% effort. Make it a priority to take them through the enlarging process. Enlarging others can be rewarding and fun, but it also takes time, money, and work. That is why you have to commit yourself to the process and make it a top priority. John's friend E.D. Cole said, "There is a price to pay to grow. Commitment is a price. Once you've made the commitment, you're ready to go. The following suggestions will help you maximize the enlarging process. See their potential." Olympic gold medal winner Jeffrey Gabiniero sums it up this way: the real contest is always between what you've done and what you're capable of doing. Whether you look at the people you desire to enlarge, try to discern what they are capable of doing. Look for the spark of greatness. Watch and listen with your heart as well as with your eyes. Find their enthusiasm. Try to visualize what they would be doing if they were overcoming personal obstacles, gained confidence, grew in new areas of promise, and gave everything they had. That will help you see their potential. Cast a vision for the future. Someone once said, "Don't let yourself be pressured into thinking that your dreams and your talents aren't prudent. They were never meant to be prudent. They were meant to bring joy, fulfillment into your life." And that's great advice. People will never succeed beyond their wildest dreams unless they have some pretty wild dreams. When you cast a vision for others, you help them see their potential and their possibilities. And when you add that to vision, your faith in them, you spark them to action. A great British statesman, Benjamin Disraeli, declared, "Nurture great thought for you will never go higher than your thoughts." Help people have great thoughts about themselves and they will begin to live like the people they can become. Tap into their passion. As a larger of people, you are to help people want to grow, and one way to do what is to tap into their passion. Everybody, even the quietest person, has a passion for something. You have to find it. As scientist Willis R. Whitney pointed out, some men have thousands of reasons why they cannot do what they want to. when all they need is one reason why they can't. As you look for others' passion, go beyond the surface of their daily wants. Look deep within them. Harold Kushner perceptively wrote, "Our souls are not hungry for fame, comfort, wealth, or power. Those rewards create almost as many problems as they solve. Our souls are hungry for meaning, for the sense of what we have figured out how to live so that our lives matter, so that the world will be at least a little bit more different for our having passed through it." US President Woodrow Wilson said, "We grow by dreams. All big individuals are dreamers. They see things in the soft haze of a spring day or in the red fire on a long winter's evening. Some of us let those great dreams die, but others nourish and protect them, nourish them through bad days until they bring them to sunshine and light, which comes always to those who sincerely hope for their dreams to come true." Passion is the fuel that helps people nourish and protect their dreams. Address character flaws. As you explore how you can help others enlarge themselves, you need to address any character issues that they may have. As we have mentioned in chapter 1, integrity is the foundation upon which everything else must stand in people's life. No matter how much enlarging you do, if the foundation isn't solid, there's going to be trouble. When we examine the character of others, remember to look beyond their reputation. Abraham Lincoln made this distinction. Character is like a tree, and reputation is like its shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing. Take time to really get to know the people you are enlarging. Observe them in various situations. If you get to know people well enough to know how they react in most situations, you'll have an idea how or what character shortcomings they may have. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenging controversy." Your goal should be to help people you're developing to stand strong in the midst of challenges. But you have to start with the little things. Author and corporate leader Joseph Sugarman observed, "Every time you are honest and conducting yourself with honesty, a successful force will drive you towards greater success. Each time you lie, even with a little white lie, there are strong forces pushing you towards failure." Help others to learn to conduct themselves with integrity in every situation, and they will be ready to grow and reach their potential. Focus on their strength. When some people begin to work with others on their development, they often gravitate to weakness rather than strength. Maybe that's because it's so easy to see other people's problems and shortcomings. But if you start by putting your energies in correcting people's weaknesses, you will demoralize them and unintentionally sabotage the enlarging process. Enlarge them one step at a time. Ronald Osborne noted, "Unless you try to do something beyond what you have already mastered, you will never grow. To enlarge others, help them take growth steps and stretch them regularly without overwhelming or discouraging them. For each person, the process will look differently, but no matter where people are from or where they are going, they'll need to grow in certain areas. We suggest that you include the following 4 areas in developing process. Attitude. More than anything else, attitude determines whether people are successful and able to enjoy life. The attitude impacts not only every area of their life, but also influences other relationships. The world is made up of people, so everyone has to learn to interact effectively with others. The ability to relate to others and to communicate with them can affect marriage, parenting, occupation, friendship, and more. If people can get along, they can get ahead in just about any area of life. Leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. If the people you're developing plan to work on others, they have to learn to lead them. If they don't, they'll be carrying out the whole load themselves in everything they do. Personal and professional skills. You may be surprised to see that we're listing this last, but the truth is, if your thinking isn't positive and skills aren't working with the people you are still missing, all the professional skills in the world are little benefit. As you help people grow, work from the inside out. It's not what's happening to people that makes the difference. It's what's happening in them. Put resources in their hands to help people grow, no matter what area you're addressing. Put resources in their hands, whether either in one of us meets with someone we're developing, we always try to take something with us to give them: books, tapes, magazines, articles, anything uplifting or instructive that will you can get into their hands. Expose them to enlarging experiences. Implementing a plan for growth enlarges people, but sometimes they need something more to give them than a fresh burst of energy and inspiration. Author and champion for the blind Helen Keller said, "One can never consent to creep when one feels impulse to soar. When you're exposed people to enlarging experience, you plant with them a desire to soar." Teach them to be self-enlargers. According to Philip B. Crosby, there is a theory of human behavior that says people subconsciously retard their own intellectual growth. They come to rely on cliches and habits. Once they reach an age of their own personal comfort with the world, they stop learning and their minds runs on idle for the rest of their days. They may possess or progress organizationally, they may be ambitious and eager, and they may even work day and night, but they learn no more. Once you've gotten people to value growth enough to start enlarging themselves, you've broken through the strong barrier. But the next step is to get them to keep on growing on their own. It has been said that the goal of all teachers should be to equip students to get along without them. The same thing can be said of people who seek to enlarge others. As you work with others to help them enlarge themselves, give them what they need so that they may learn to take care of themselves. Teach them to find resources, encourage them to get out of their comfort zone on their own, and point them towards additional people who can help them learn and grow. If you can help them to become lifelong learners, you will have given them an incredible gift. We've heard it said, no one becomes rich unless he enriches another. When you enrich others by helping them grow and enlarge themselves, you're not only bringing joy to them, but to yourself, but also increase your influence and ability to touch others' lives. At the beginning of this chapter, we told you about a story on how Fernando has enriched the life of Jim and Nancy's son, Eric. But there is more to this story. Since Eric played in that power soccer tournament, he has really changed. He has become more assertive, and he is pursuing his goals with more enthusiasm. For example, Eric has now decided that he wants to try to play tennis. So Fernando has started working with him to get him ready. As I mentioned earlier, Eric has begun weight training, and he has also taken another step to help making tennis more possible, a step that first scared Nancy and me. Since his stroke, Eric's right hand is extremely limited in what he can do, so he really has full use of his left hand. But to play tennis, he would have to use his good left hand to hold the racket. What was Fernando's situation or solution? He waited until Nancy and I were out of town and switched Eric's wheelchair controls to his bad hand. We didn't think it was possible, but it was. Eric now drives right-handed, and as soon as he's ready, he is going to take up tennis. Eric also does another thing that simply astounds us. For example, he works in the office. He puts himself into bed at night, but that's nothing compared to some of his goals. Someday, Eric wants to be able to drive a car. Fernando's mentoring and coaching of Eric has been fantastic. We always want the best for Eric, but we discover that we are overly protective. The whole process has enlarged us and broadened our horizons. And of course, it's incredible to see how Eric grow and change has been. But he, Nancy, and I are not alone in it. Even the enlarger has become enlarged. Fernando is changing and growing too. He has always been the consummate professional, but we now seeing a softer, more loving side that was previously hidden. And recently he told Nancy, I'm learning that I have to really give to enjoy my life. What 19th century American philosopher, poet Randolph Waldo Emerson said is true. It is one of the most beautiful comprehensions of this life that no man can Sincerely try to help another without helping himself. If you give yourself to enlarging others and assisting them in reaching their potential, the rewards you reap will be almost as great as the ones of the people you help. So we have to, in our lives as leaders, we look for others to enlarge and to help them grow to their potential, and that's it's great. Does anybody want to share of someone in their life that helped them grow into a potential that they may not have thought of, but has been reached because someone encouraged you to do something? Does anybody have something they would like to share?
Yeah. I would say in my own personal life, how did I get started as ministry or pastor or whatever? I could look back to my dad actually was the first to kind of start pushing me in this direction. I was 18 years old. This is just realized that's 24 years ago this month. I preached my first sermon at the age of 18. And my dad just kind of said, "Hey, you want to preach this Sunday?" And I'm like, "Okay." So he kind of pushed me in that. And then a few weeks later, he said, "You're going to preach again." So I preached again. And then it kind of gave me confidence because I was now getting comfortable in the pulpit. That was my first time I preached was not in Bible school, it was before Bible school. And then when I went to Bible college, it was Stephanie's dad saying, "Okay, you're going to preach this weekend and this is where you're going." And you're going to preach to the class. That was kind of the first thing. You preach to your own class. And then I was sent out to preach on the road in different churches. So there was a lot of experiences like that where it was I was put in a position where I was forced to grow. I'll put it that way. I had to study to prepare my own message. I had to get in the pulpit and preach, and those were really good experiences to get just experience with public speaking or whatever. But then beyond that, after I graduated from Bible college, I'll never forget this conversation. We had started a second church between my second and third year in Bible school. And after I graduated, I came back home to Outlook, Saskatchewan, and my dad kind of looked at me one day and he said, "This town's not big enough for both of us." Outlook's only got 4,000 people and we got a church 3.5 hours away. So one of us has to move. And of course, the way he was saying it wasn't going to be him moving. This was going to be my baby. So, God worked it out. I was able to get a job in the area and all that sort of thing. And, we moved over to Watson, Saskatchewan. And we were pastoring the church in Kelvington, Saskatchewan. And it was, here I was, 22 years old, pastoring my first church. I didn't ask for that. I wasn't looking for it, but there it was. And my dad had confidence in me, first of all, be able to say, "Okay, you're going to go over there and pastor that church." And he also did it in a way that he didn't micromanage me. He didn't call me every week or anything. In fact, I think the second year I was there, I only saw him once all year. But as far as coming over for a visit, but that was just one of those things, and maybe I'm rambling a little bit too much here, but it really forced me to grow in my ministry and, being a leader and all that sort of stuff, because there was challenges along the way and a lot of different things that happened, but it forced me to grow. And, I made a lot of mistakes and that cost me a bit, but there was some invaluable experiences that I made at the same time. So, in my case, that was my dad pushing me that really helped me to grow. Everybody's muted.
Yeah, everybody's quiet. Well, I sort of have the same sort of type of thing where I started with leading songs, and
Mhm.
then in high school there was a group that met for Bible study at lunchtime, and it was held by another girl, and then so I'm not sure what happened, but she stopped leading it, and I kind of sort of took over it.
Awesome.
And so we had we taught Search for Truth, I think it was, in lunchtime. And then David and Cindy came out of that.
Mhm.
But that was, the first kick at the cat, so to speak. And then Brother Brown had got me to speak a few times and lead song service, and then I did some training here along the way with what's it called there, LTC. I did that, and other things that that came along the way, just opportunities that taken. And then Brother McQuinn say, why don't you go for your license? And he saw potential in me as well, so I went for my minister's license, and then teaching and preaching and leading the youth, the Sunday school youth, and all that fun things, and all those things that lead to me to where I am now. And if it wasn't for leaders in my life that sort of pushed me sort of out of my comfort zone at times, I wouldn't be here either. So that's what I knew that God wanted to use me, because at teen camp, he told me I was going to be a preacher. So I knew it was going to happen, but God leads us along, and he sends people to push us to make it happen. When God says something is going to happen, so we just don't know how it's going to happen sometimes, but God does send people along our way that help us, and we need that. Every one of us needs an enlarger in our life to get us into gear. Sometimes we're stuck in neutral, and it's that first step, getting ourselves into gear, that sometimes the hardest. And then once you get out of, it's like driving a standard, getting that first gear. Once you get into first gear, you can go with that, but it's that popping the clutch and stalling her and getting going in first gear. And then after that, shifting the gears is nothing. It's that first gear that's hard, and we all need that encouragement to get ourselves into first. Then we can go into second, third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah.
But we all need that in our lives.
Amen. Amen. I was just thinking, as far as the beginning of this chapter, really talked about how to enlarge yourself before you can start enlarging others. And, it talked about investing in yourself. I want us to think about something. A friend of mine actually did this with his wife. She's a piano player, and he had purchased a hymn book or a songbook for her, and gave it to her, and she was all excited. And she said, well, what made you think to give this to me? And he said, I'm investing in your ministry. And he said that was his motive, was I want to invest in your ministry. So the question is, are we investing in our own ministry? Whatever area of ministry that is, what are we doing to enlarge ourselves, to improve our skills or knowledge in any area where we already serve? There's a lot of resources available. It was mentioned here, as an enlarger, what we want to do is put resources in people's hands. You mentioned LTC. That's a great resource. Many of us here have already, we're either teaching LTC or we've gone through LTC or something of that nature. Ministry Central, we've renewed our account this year, so it didn't expire. It was on auto renew, so you're still good to go there. And they have every area of ministry in there with training from some of the top people in the UPCI, whether that's music or sound or playing an instrument or leading songs or preaching. There's so many different things that are available. There's Sunday school teacher training. There's everything. So whatever area of ministry you're in already, there are resources available, and we're paying for it as a church. So it's given to you as a gift that you can use that to improve yourself. So, some of it comes down to this attitude thing. How can I make myself the best I can be at whatever area of service I'm working in? If I'm teaching home Bible studies, I want to be the best home Bible study teacher that ever was. To have that approach. If I'm a Sunday school teacher, I want to be the best Sunday school teacher there ever was. If I am a musician, I want to do it with excellence. There's, and I believe that we can all take one step closer to being that best of the best. Now, I'm not suggesting anyone here is going to be a Mark Condon or whatever, but we can all enlarge ourselves. And I try to lead by example in this. That's why I went to UGST. I was really feeling the need to stay ahead of others that were growing very rapidly, and I was like, I need to be investing in my own personal growth as well as that of those around me. And that's why I continue to grow. I'm reading books right now on leadership and how to lead growth and all these sorts of things. I want to be able to continue to learn and grow myself. So I really would encourage everyone to have that approach of, okay, how can I be the best I can be at what I'm doing? I'm just going to stop the recording here. Thank you for watching if you're online.